Hey guys, just cleansing the energy. It's Jason with Grounded Roots Healing. Holy cow, must need a cleanse. I'm gonna put this over here. So, I thought I'd talk about this going on. I thought I'd talk about schizophrenia again. So we'll call this Schizophrenia Part 2. And some more clarity on that topic, as well as like trying to decipher messages from the universe, how they're sent to you, and how we often dismiss the messages because of the package that they're in. So the particular human, with their particular set of, I'll call them foibles, packaging, we tend to dismiss it. So, this is often something that happens to people with schizophrenia. So, essentially, to me, schizophrenia, it's a type of psychosis. I don't like that word at all, because it implies that not what they're seeing isn't real. And I don't believe that to be the case. Now, I will preface all of this by saying this is my personal opinion. I am not a doctor. And please do not go taking medical advice from people off the internet. Make the decision yourself. By all means, absorb the information, take it into consideration, and then you decide what's best for you. Always. I mean, this goes for doctors too. I don't know how many of I have. So, good example. I had what I determined to be a gallbladder issue. I was having gallbladder attacks. This was a few years ago. And I diagnosed myself. I looked at the symptoms. I typed it into Google, and I was like, oh, this is clearly what's going on with me. And then I took that to my doctor, and they dismissed it immediately. I had to advocate for myself and push forward and say, no, I want to get checked for this. I need an ultrasound. Force the issue. Turns out I was right. And if I had listened to my doctor, I would have went home, and who knows, right? I mean, there's no coincidences, and I was never in any real danger. It was always going to be okay. But that was to show me something. All of these things are for lessons. And it was to show me to think for myself and advocate for myself. So, I've had an incidence of spiritual psychosis. And it was a 3-day period where I was in full enlightenment. But I was also interacting and being shown that there are levels to this, and that this is a wave. So, like any wave, there's polarities. There's a peak and a trough. I said this in my last video. The peak, good. The trough, bad, evil. And it goes. Now, you're God. You're the entire wave. So that means you embody both. And a big part of the spiritual awakening journey is realizing that you can't always be the peak. And to learn how to use and accept that you have, that's part of you. And to direct it in a way in which is constructive and not destructive. But without accepting that you have that in you, you'll never become whole. And that's all spiritual awakening is becoming whole and balanced. Balancing the masculine and feminine, masculine, and good and evil, and all of it, all the polarities into one being. When you become whole and aware of the lucidity of this place, that it is just a dream in itself, though it feels physically real, it's intricately designed in order to fool us into being enamored with this physical environment around us, because it helps us feel like we're safe, like we know what's going to happen. We have predictive quality to this environment that we live in, and that if we can predict the future based on previous past events, then we can stay safe. It's part of the operating system of the avatar, the vehicle that your soul inhabits, this body, mind complex. Okay, so I had this 3-day enlightenment, and in that time, at various points, I was interacted with by, let's call them entities at various levels of the ascension, the universe. So, avatar, body-mind complex, inhabited by a soul. The cat scratching. Inhabited by a soul. The soul ascends up, up, up. There is no up, but it's all happening on top of each other. And depending on which level you're at, it's a frequency level. It depends on it. The cat got me distracted. Depending on what level you're vibrating at, you can ascend the frequencies, and it becomes more angelic the higher you go, until you reach the very top. But in each one of those levels, it's a wave. Good, evil. So I'm not sure where the ultimate evil exists. They said it's a fallen angel, which would make a lot of sense. It would mean that it's one level below God itself, and that it would be the embodiment of the lower peak of the frequency at the highest level. There's your higher level, higher devil. But at each level, there's a peak and a trough, good, evil. And it's all one thing. There's no out there and over here. It's all piled on in one spot. So you can think of it like a radio. In that analogy, your brain is the receiver, this body-mind complex. It receives your consciousness. But there are many stations playing at the same time. It's a matter of what you're tuned into. So if you're operating at, say, a low vibrational frequency, and your receiver's picking it up, that means you're at a lower earthly frequency, longer wavelength, higher amplitude, earth down. This is where the density is. It's a higher density. It's energy coagulated at a low enough frequency that it forms the illusion of matter, and for which we can live these lives in. So as you ascend the frequencies, you go up the frequency, you become lighter, essentially. You get enlightened. But again, all of this is occurring in the same place at the same time, because there is no time, there is no space. It's all energetic. It's just a matter of what frequency are you tuned into. And as we heal these bodies and these emotional traumas and issues from our childhood, and we raise our frequency as a whole, we go up the frequencies. becomes more angelic every time, right? But there's always the trough. There's always evil. And if it's all happening in the same place at the same time, as a schizophrenic or someone going through spiritual psychosis, what you're doing is seeing all the channels at once. You're tuned into every station. This is my opinion again. I just saw 2 ravens fly over. But if you're tuned into every station at once, and your physical body and consciousness is in the lower frequency, i.e. earthly realm, you're trying to exist here, yet you can see all the way up to God, and let alone not just the good things. So the lower peaks at each level, you have a high and a low. So 12 levels. You see them all, and then you're trying to interact with someone at the 3rd dimension down here, have a conversation about weather, when you know that all of this is just an energetic fabrication, and you're looking at someone who's asleep. You're trying to talk to them, but you're seeing 10 levels higher, and you know that that person is suffering from, let's say there's an energetic entity attached, or they're just struggling and they need to ground themselves. What you might do in that situation as someone going through spiritual psychosis or schizophrenia is push them into a body of water. And that doesn't go over well. The people asleep don't realize that they have all of this stuff going on. They don't understand that going into a body of water is going to solve most of their problems right away. Or you'll be interacted with by someone on the lower, an entity on the lower end of the vibrational frequency. So the trough part of the wave, evil. And you can't decipher the difference between the messages coming from the good guys or the bad guys. And you don't even know which level the message is coming from. So if it's just one level above you and they're a trickster type energy, they might get you to do things for their own entertainment. And you might get a message that, if you put this foil on your head and run down the street naked, it's it's going to result in everyone understanding what you understand now. Do you see how this might go wrong? In my opinion, the biggest part of this is deciphering where the message is coming from, learning how to tune into one station at a time. And you do this through shamanism, through learning how to navigate these environments, up, down, identify the peaks from the troughs, which level you're at based on the energetic structure, and to be able to tune into one station at a time. That's the solution. How we do this is going to be the challenge. In Western society, what we do right now is we take medication. And in my opinion, again, what's happening when you do that is it's lowering your vibrational energy as a whole and forcing you down into the lower levels in order to tune into one station at a time. Now that could be an amazing thing, especially if you don't have someone to help you navigate these levels. To show you how to tune into one station at a time. I mean, everybody with this affliction should be assigned a shaman immediately. But we're certainly not going to do that in Western society right now. We don't even have enough of them. I studied a bit of shamanism myself. It's amazing, but I'm no expert. At least I believe I was in other lives, but I'm not currently in this one. I'm a novice. So I can't help you. I'm learning to do this myself. What I can do is try to explain it in a way so that you understand what's happening to you. Now, to take that medication and to force yourself into one bandwidth, I think that could be a great thing. I mean, it's important to be able to have some control. Because if you don't know who to listen to, you may do things that aren't good for you or anyone around you. And this is psychosis. Now, being in psychosis all the time would be a very, very scary thing. It's terrifying. I'm certain of it. You just don't know what to believe. And that is the experience that I've had being around people with schizophrenia in my life, is that they say a lot of things that just don't make a lot of sense. And it's because, like I said, they're seeing 12 levels at once. They're jumping back and forth. They don't even know which one they're at, which station they're tuned to, and they're getting messed around with, essentially. It's a terrifying concept. So, things like hallucinogenic drugs, as they call them. A lot of people in this spiritual space call them plant medicines. I would be more apt to lean that way. What they do, in my opinion, is raise your vibrational frequency. And some of them do it very quickly, and they go from 0 to 100, right to the top level. In which case, how are you going to decipher what's going on? You're just getting thrust into an environment that you don't understand. Some of them are more gradual, and if you have a shaman guiding you up, explaining what's happening at each level, I think that would be a much more preferable way to do it. And, there's some very therapeutic healing benefits to this, obviously. This is now well known. Dr. Gabor Mate and, any ayahuasca, the craze of ayahuasca that has been for the last 10 years or so, there's a lot of potential with ibogaine and psilocybin, and a lot of these studies have been done. I read Dr. Rick Strassman's book, The Spirit Molecule, probably 10 years ago, and it looks interesting. I mean, things like marijuana, if you're vibrating at a low level, it can have the effect of raising your vibration. It's not as dramatic, but it can. And whereas things like alcohol lower your vibration. This is why when you drink, people can tend to get into fights and do stupid things and become violent. Whereas with the other stuff, there's the opposite. So, up and down the vibrational frequency and deciphering where you are is the way forward with this. Now, messages. I mean, you have to believe, like, this comes from a comment on one of my videos. And it was something around the lines of, well, I understand what you're saying, but, sometimes there's just delusion and none of it's real. I just don't believe that. I don't think there is anything such as not real. If you are conceiving it and seeing it, it's real. It's just a matter of deciphering where is it coming from. There is no such thing as delusion. There's a scrambling effect. that I believe that's what is spiritual psychosis. So it's all real because you're the conscious being creating it. And those, like I said, those entities that are on the lower trough of the wave, they're just part of you as well. This is all you. You're God. You're the whole package, the universe, in one conscious fractal, experiencing it through these particular set of eyes and speaking into this camera. But it's all you, the good and the bad. So it's extremely confusing, as you can see. And I don't have answers for these poor souls. But I know there's a reason. I'm extremely confident in that. And I know that there's a big role for people with schizophrenia in society. Like I said before, they are powerful seers. They see through it all. If there's a way to harness this and control it and understand what they're doing, I mean, they can't be stopped. They see right to the top and the bottom. It's just a matter of unscrambling the signal. So I was going to talk about deciphering messages from the universe, but I'll save that for another video. I'm already at 22 minutes, and I think I'll leave it there, guys. There's Schizophrenia Part 2. Like I always say, I hope this video finds you well. I love you all, and we'll see you soon.